Hey guys, so I was gonna have to make this video. Gave it a lot of time, trying to be as pretty much prepared for this video. The Georgia versus sorry, I got TV on, but Georgia versus Florida State. Am I surprised by the result of 63-3? Yes and no. I knew Georgia was going to whoop Florida State. I just didn't know it was going to be how bad. I was thinking 30, 40, maybe 50 at the max, but 60. That's a record. Most the team has lost in a bowl game. That performance by Florida State, they look like a high school team. They really did. I think, like I said before, I think a fair matchup would have been Liberty versus Florida State. And looking at that matchup, I think Liberty would have won. I think that would have been a cool matchup. Would have been much more exciting. And yeah. This game was just not what basically it was not a top tier game from the start. Georgia was just so much on another level. What makes this game impressive is that Georgia at their first string. Then they moved out their second string. And they were still doing great. Really good. And to pull out their third string. And their third string was still playing amazingly. Florida State had their second string and their third string guys out there. A few starters. And Georgia had their third string quarterback. And I just got to say this for Florida State fans. You guys want to be a top tier program. You guys believe that your school should be respected more. And I think that they are right. Florida State, historically and all of that, is a fantastic program. They deserve more respect. But when you guys are making claims, being upset, pointing the fingers at everyone, and being rightfully upset, I mean, you guys were ranked 4, and then you guys moved down because you guys had lost a QB, but you guys also played pitifully against the last two teams. Florida, you barely won, and that was not a very good Florida team. They were hot, but then they were cold, and then also barely squeaking by. A painful Louisville game to watch. It was horrendous. And I would say for the fans, I think the fans knew that it was painful to watch. It was just not, it was not fun to watch. So the reason why I say is that I'm making this video is Florida State. If you want to be a top tier team, guys really should be looking across the field. Georgia is a top tier team that has had every right to be upset. And how did they handle it? They said we should have been in, left it at that. Their fan base said, should have been in, But let's see what happens in this game. Then we'll talk. I think Florida, their program, their fan base, everything, Florida State. Florida State needs to learn how to handle themselves in situations like this. And the perfect example was right across the field. What upsets me more, and I actually really liked Florida State. They have a fantastic history. Their fans were totally passionate about their team. But what really upset me as far is going back to the game, before the game, and their players opting out. Tons of their players. Okay. That upset me a little. But then, after you guys lose by 60 points, you guys are saying, see, Bama shouldn't have gone in. They lost by 7 points in overtime. It's like there is no common sense in this argument. Like, they did not make any, throughout this whole thing, before the games, making their whole arguments. Every argument that they have made was not great. The only one that was great was that they were undefeated. They could have made really good arguments on tons of other things. Well, Michigan shouldn't be in. They cheated. Or Texas technically should have been out, because if you look on ESPN rankings, they were 5th. Florida State was 4. They could have said all of this, and I've mentioned this and shown it in previous videos. They did not. I think they're looking at the wrong places at the wrong times and are handling the situations wrong. Everything Florida State has done is wrong. I feel bad for them. I feel bad for the players. Oh my gosh, it must have been so embarrassing. I think that, there was no containment. They didn't keep Georgia to the middle of the field. They let Georgia do whatever they so please, run to the outside, throw it to the outside, run in, run out, blah, blah, blah. Literally, Georgia just walked all over them. And these are second and third stringers. A lot of them may not have that real-time, game-time experience. But, this has got to be the start of a learning curve for Florida State. You guys have a fantastic coach. Fantastic coach. And this season proved it. But you guys got to be handling yourselves professionally. And that is something that is needed to be learned. And that's actually probably the first thing to learn, is having the right mindset. And that everything that has unfolded has shown otherwise. The coach has done a fantastic job. I think his mindset and everything has been great. This was strictly on the players, and I think it's hard to put it on these third stringers. I wouldn't put it on them, but boy, first string guys opting out, people making complaints. The fan base, I do think the fan base has to take part of this, because the fan base just absolutely put their team in a worse spot, thinking that they were going to make them in a better spot, making them in a worse spot. I know Florida State has announced they're trying to get out of the ACC. Get out of the ACC. Play against Big 10 teams, Big 12 teams, whatever you guys have to do. But you guys also got to focus on what's going on in the locker rooms, mentality, practices. And really, I have to say that this is absolutely the number one thing that needs to be a focus on now. But that's what I gotta say. I'm already tired. I've been hardly getting sleep these past few days. I've been busy. But this is my recap. As far as for Georgia, maybe they should have been in. I definitely think that they have a very strong argument that performance was exactly what they needed to do. And that's, I think, if Georgia went in, maybe they would have beaten Michigan. Alabama was having issues all throughout the game. Does Georgia make issues throughout the game? Not really. So who knows what would happen. Anyways, hope you guys have a great day. Bye.